I want to talk a little more in detail about media queries. Media queries were built as an extension to media types that were commonly found when you were targeting and including styles. Media queries allow you to specify different styles for individual browsers and device circumstances. Things such as the width of the viewport or the device orientation, for example. Being able to apply uniquely targeted styles opens up an entirely new world of opportunity and leverage that you can start to include in your responsive web designs. You're going to want to begin by initializing a media query, and there are a couple different ways to use media queries. You can use the @media rule inside an existing style sheet. You can import a new style sheet using the @import rule and then specifying the media condition from there. Or you can go ahead and link to a whole separate style sheet, and some of your attributes that you can pass on can be things like media, and then you can specify the query for that particular string. Generally speaking, it's recommended that you use the first technique, using the @media rule within an existing style sheet, and that will ensure that you're going to avoid any additional HTTP requests, so it will help to make your page run a little bit quicker. Each media query may include a media type followed by one or more expressions. Common media types are going to include things like all, screen, print, TV, braille. In the HTML5 specification, there's even new media types like 3D glasses. Should a media type not be specified, the media query will default to the media type of screen. So it's not necessary that you put the media type of screen in there because that's going to be the default anyways. The media query expression that follows the media type may include different media features and values, which then allocate to be either true or false. When a media feature and value allocate to be true, the styles are going to be applied, and if the media feature and value allocate to false, the styles are ignored. So in this first example right here, the maximum width is 1024. So the device comes to the web page and the page size is smaller than 1024. Any styles that are specified here would be applied. If the page size is larger than 1024, well then those styles are not going to be applied. They're going to be ignored. Other things that you can do with media queries is you can add logical operators inside of the media queries. By adding logical operators, you can build really powerful expressions. The 3 different logical operators available for use within media queries are going to be and, not, and only. When you use the AND logical operator within a media query, it allows an extra condition to be added. This ensures that a browser or a device could do A, B, C, and so on and so forth. You can string together multiple individual media queries and they will be comma separated. So if you want to include more than one, you just separate them by a comma. When you separate the media queries by a comma, it kind of acts like an unspoken operator. So if we look at the example right here, what this is going to do is it's going to select all media types between 800 pixels, minimum width of 800 pixels, and maximum width of 1024. So anything that's between 800 and 24 would be affected by the rules that we would be writing here. The not logical operator negates the query. So when you're specifying any query, anything is going to go except for the one that has been identified. So in the example right here, the expression is going to apply to any device that does not have a color screen. So black and white monochromatic screens would apply here. And then the only logical operator is a new operator. It's not recognized by user agents using HTML4. So it's going to hide styles from devices or browsers that don't support media queries. What this expression is going to do right here is only screens in a portrait orientation are going to be capable of reading any of the media queries that we would specify here. Let's look at some of the different media features that we can include within media queries. Knowing your media query syntax and how the logical operators work is a great introduction to media queries, but really the true work is going to come with media features. Media features are going to identify what attributes and properties are going to be targeted within the media query expression. One of the most common ones are going to be the width and height media features. These revolve around determining a height or a width for a device or a browser viewport. The height and the width may be found using the height, width, device height, and device-width. Each of these media features can then be prefixed by min or max as well. So you can just add those min-max qualifiers on there, and they can build features such as min-width or maximum device width. So here we have a minimum width of 320 pixels and a maximum width of 780 pixels. Any styles that would be passed on would then be applied. Within the responsive design movement, the most commonly used features are going to be min width and max width. These really help you to build responsive websites on desktop and mobile devices equally and avoid any confusion within the device features. When you use the minimum and maximum width prefixes, you can use them on quite a few different features. They can indicate a value of greater than or equal to when you're using the max prefix, or you can do something that indicates a value of less or equal to using the min prefix. The min prefix indicates values of greater than or equal to, and the max prefix indicates values of less than or equal to. When you use min and max prefixes, avoid a conflict with general HTML syntax, specifically not using any sort of greater than or less than symbols. So you basically just need to write the min width or max width and then pass on the numbers. You don't need to put greater than or less than because that's part of the prefix itself. The orientation media feature determines if a device is in landscape or portrait mode. So here's an example of the orientation media feature, and you can pass on either landscape or portrait. The landscape mode is going to be triggered when the display is wider than it is taller, and the portrait mode is triggered when the display is taller than it is wider. This particular media feature plays a really big part with mobile devices. The aspect ratio media feature is going to specify the width and height in pixel ratio of the targeted rendering area or output device. The minimum and maximum prefixes are available to use within the different aspect ratio features, and they identify a ratio above or below that which is stated. The value for an aspect ratio feature consists of two positive integers separated by a forward slash. The first integer is going to identify the width in pixels, and the second integer is going to identify the height in pixels. So in this example right here, we have a min device aspect ratio of 16:9. Pixel ratio media features are used in addition to the aspect ratio media feature. These features do include the device pixel ratio feature as well as minimum and maximum prefixes. Specifically, the pixel ratio feature is great for identifying high definition devices like Retina displays. Media queries that want to do so are going to look something like this. We're going to have media only screen and WebKit minimum device pixel ratio of 1:3. Or only screen and minimum device pixel ratio of 1:3. The resolution media feature specifies that the resolution of the output device in pixel density, so this is also could be referred to as dots per inch or DPI. The resolution media feature does accept the minimum and maximum prefixes as well, and in addition the resolution media feature is going to accept dots per pixel, so DPPX is how you would write that instead of DPI. In this example right here, we're going to have a minimum resolution of 300 DPI. Other sorts of media features are available to identify colors. You have color, color-index, monochrome, and you could even identify bitmap devices with the grid feature. And if you wanted to identify a television, you could use the scan feature. These features definitely aren't quite as commonly used, but they could be helpful in certain situations. Unfortunately, media queries do not work within Internet Explorer 8 and below, as well as some of the other older browsers, but there are a couple of things that you can do to overcome that. Respond.js is a lightweight polyfill that only looks for minimum and maximum width media types. It's really perfect for someone who's only using those media types. If you go ahead and follow this link to respond.js, it'll take you to a GitHub repository where you can download the information that you need. So there's information, there's a demo page right here which illustrates how this actually works, and you can test this on your older browsers if you need to. It allows them to actually function and to work, so this can definitely help, and it's not too big. And there's instructions of how to include this within your project on the GitHub repository right here. CSS3 media queries.js is more developed. It's a little bit heavier in weight, but it's a polyfill that offers support for a more complex and large array of media queries. When you use a polyfill like this, you could be adding some additional performance concerns and possibly slow down your website. So you want to make sure if you're going to use a polyfill, it's worth the performance trade-off for sure. So hopefully now you understand a little bit more about the media queries. As I mentioned, the ones that you're going to use the most are going to be min width and max width, but sometimes those other ones can be helpful in certain situations.